Hello, I'm Brad Hennings, a partner with Chisholm and Kilpatrick, or CCK, and we're here today to talk about, is the Board of Veterans' Appeals about to miss its 2024 goals? So despite setting clear goals for this fiscal year, as well as having record funding, there's a question as to whether the BVA will fall short of the goals for decisions. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happened, why, and how it will affect CCK and veterans. But before we get into the numbers, how does CCK come into this? How does it get this information? Why does CCK research this? Don't law firms just fill out paperwork? Well, the answer is that we care about what's happening at the Board of Veterans' Appeals, and we care about our clients and seeing what kind of weight we're talking about. We get this information through Freedom of Information Act requests, and we do that so we can find out what's happening within VA, what's happening within the agency, and how can we leverage that information to get our clients the fastest and best possible decisions. So what's the board saying about fiscal year 2024, which ends in September? The board set a goal to decide 111,000 appeals this year. As of July, BVA has issued 86,200 decisions. To meet its goal by the end of September, it has to decide at least 24,800 appeals before the end of September. So how does this compare to years past? Well, in 2023, the board adjudicated and dispatched a record 103,245 appeals, which is an 8.3% increase over fiscal year 2022. To get there, the board increased the number of its employees by 12.3% to 1,374 personnel in fiscal year 23. Let's talk a little bit about the board's current backlog. Right now, the board is transitioning to AMA cases, or Appeals Modernization Act cases. It's currently 53% AMA and growing this fiscal year. This AMA output is already up 33% over last year. This is great news. It means the agency is finally fully transitioning from legacy appeals that they're deciding to AMA appeals. Now, the legacy hearings that are pending, there's fewer than 1,000 legacy hearings pending at the board. And in terms of original legacy appeals pending, the number was reduced from 40,994 to 15,618, a 62% reduction since October 2022. This is excellent news. But despite this improvement, at the start of fiscal year 2023, the board had over 200,000 appeals pending, with more coming in every day. So there's a long way to go in addressing this particular backlog of the number of decisions pending at the Board of Veterans' Appeals. So what are these numbers not telling us? So of the 86,200 decisions through July 7th, 46% were legacy and 54% were AMA. Historically, the legacy AMA goals for resolution of legacy appeals have not been met. VA has set many goals over the last 5 years to resolve these legacy appeals, but these appeals are often cycled through the VA system by remands. Now, in the VA system, an appeal is remanded back to the regional office if the record is not complete for the board to make a fully informed or favorable decision. 92% of the over 40,000 pending legacy appeals are remands. Some of these remands are also appeals from the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims, although this is a much smaller number. So what does this goal even mean with such a high percentage of remands? Well, 54% of remand appeals pending have been remanded 2 or more times, 29% 3 or more times, 16% 4 or more times, and 9% of appeals have been remanded 5 or more times back to the regional office. So each remand means veterans must wait even longer for a final decision to be made on their claim. It also means the board is paying to work on a case, send it back to the RO for further development, and ultimately may find itself back at the board again. So this could result in the veteran waiting at least 3 to 4 more years for a decision on their claim. So there's a question about, is the board prioritizing certain types of claims at the expense of others? And we've talked a little bit about the board has discretion to decide which percentage of legacy versus AMA cases it's deciding. However, It's priority cases or cases that have been advanced on the board's docket, typically when a veteran or client is 75 years of age or older or in severe financial hardship. Those priority cases are 21.42% of the board's AMA docket in 2024. 78.58% are non-priority, which means not 75 or older and not significant hardship. Now, in legacy, 35% of those were priority or advanced on the docket, and 64.90% were non-priority. What all of this means is that the more non-priority cases the board is getting to, the faster the docket is going to move, and more, we'll say, regular veterans who don't have those special designations are going to get their decisions. The good news is, based on all of the data that we have received from the Board of Veterans' Appeals, the board is going to meet its goals. That is excellent news for veterans and advocates due to the long wait times at the board. However, what is CCK doing to adapt to these long waits on behalf of its clients? Well, CCK can file a petition for a writ of mandamus at the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims if a case has fallen through the cracks or is not being worked in the order in which it is supposed to be worked. A lot of this is just systemic delay, meaning that there are too many cases and not enough resources to adjudicate them quickly. And in our experience, and in so many cases, the board's duty to assist remands unfortunately do not yield a positive result for the veteran in the long run. They're remands for more information that aren't necessarily favorable to the claimant, and they end up just holding up the process for veterans. These veterans have already been waiting, oftentimes years, for a decision. So to help minimize these wait times for veterans, CCK has repeatedly argued to the board that claimants have the right to waive the duty to assist in some cases. We believe that if an appeal is at the board and the record is fully developed, meaning that the file contains enough fully favorable evidence and fully informative evidence warranting a grant of benefits, veterans should have the right to waive any additional development under VA's duty to assist. Stay tuned for our next video, where we examine how BVA performed at the end of the fiscal year and how they handled taxpayer dollars.